Hello Designistas, in this video we will create a 6-core skirt step by step in close 3D using this A-line skirt pattern. Here we have the skirt specs as well as the data that we will apply to the skirt. In addition, I will also provide you with free high-quality skirt fabrics so you can use them for your design. Okay, let's get started. Okay guys, I'm here in CLO. Before we begin changing the A-line skirt to a 6-core skirt, we want to bring the A-line skirt pattern into CLO. To do that, I will first unzip the folder. So first of all guys, when you just download this file, you have zip file. So we want to unzip them first. Simply double click on it to unzip. I will do the same here. And as you can see, I have two folders. One is file skirt, slightly thick, and basic A-line skirt. I'm going to bring them into CLO. Simply come over here to CLO and click on the plus sign here. Then navigate to my folder and I'm going to select this file skirt, slightly thick first, and then click on open. And then I will do the same. Repeat, click on the plus sign, click on this basic A-line skirt, and then click it open. Now I'm going to simply click on the basic A-line skirt, double click on it, and double click on the skirt right here to load it onto the workspace. Simply click on OK. Now we're going to modify a few things here. First, a goal here to cut this hem right here, 30 cm, as well as we want to cut this line here to change that to 6-core skirt. First of all, let's have a look at the specs one more time here. So preparation. Set the particle distance to 20. We will change the particle distance and then cut the hem here 30 cm. Cut and sew princess seam and add 3.5 cm to princess seam and so on. Alright, so let's get back to CLO here. So first of all, I want to change this display fabric here to monochrome so it's easy for us to see here. And then I'm going to zoom in a little and we'll use this edit pattern tool here. Click on this and then simply click on this, right click, and we want to select cut. After that, let's change the particle distance here to 20. Simply my key selects all the pattern pieces, come over here to the property editor and then scroll down here. We want to change the particle distance to 20. Press on return and enter on the keyboard to confirm. Next, let's remove this pattern because we don't need them. And now we are going to cut this princess seam. To cut the princess seam, I will use the trace tool here. Click on it to select. Simply click one right there, press on shift, click right here, and then right here. After that, I'm going to right click, and this time we want to select cut and sew. There you go. Next, we want to erase this pattern here so we have more space to extend the pattern in the bed. I'm going to move this out of the way a little and then simply bring it out here. All right, I think that's enough. And let's move this out a little. Okay, next we want to extend this princess seam to be 3.5 cm each. Simply use this edit pattern tool, click one right here, press on shift, right here, and then right here, here. Right click, and I'm going to select offset pattern outline. So direction, extend, perfect. Distance, we want to change that to 3.5. And come down here, be sure the side segment type is perpendicular and default corner. After that, I will click on OK. Next, we want to remove this point here. My key selects both of the point, press on the delete or backspace on the keyboard to delete, or you can also right click and then select delete as well. The same here, right click, select delete points. So first of all, I'm going to simulate here to see how the skirt fits, okay? So as you can see right here, the skirt looking pretty good because the pattern itself already fitted when I first draft this A-line skirt. However though, we want to change a couple of things here. As you can see right here, the princess seam here, it have this pointy look and we want to curve that to make it smooth, okay? The same with the side seam. To do so, I already came up with the number here. We want to decrease the princess seam here to 0.25, okay? And I will use this edit pattern tool. Simply hover the mouse on top of that line, right click, and then select split. Then I'm going to type in 0.25. Simply click on OK to confirm. I will do the same here with this princess seam, 0.25, and then click on OK. And I'm going to repeat this step to all the princess seam, okay? Split 0.25 and then click on OK. And I'm going to speed up the pace here, guys, to save us time. Alright, so right here we only need to do it one side and it affects both because the pattern are linked together. Next, I will turn them into curve. Simply remove the point right here. You can also right click and then select delete points. Right click, select delete points, and right here. Now we are going to curve that point right here. So to curve the point, I will use the smooth curve tool. Simply click on that point, drag it until it reaches the end, just like that. And I will repeat all the steps here, just like that. So now all the princess seam are curved. After that, we are going to decrease 0.3 centimeter here for this edge. First of all, let's simulate a little and to see how the skirt fits. Okay, so we have an issue here. After we remove the pattern, we have to update the sewing. Let's update the sewing first before we're gonna continue to the side seam. Alright, now let's simulate one more time. There you go. Okay, maybe this one, not yet. Now simulate. Okay, there's perfect. Next, we are going to decrease 0.3 centimeter here on the side seam. I will use the edit pattern tool once again. Hover the mouse on that line, right click and then select split and type in 0.3. Click on OK to confirm. So we only need to do the side seam, okay? We already finished with the princess seam, so 0.3. Just like that, 0.3, okay? All right, so in this case, we can't remove this point without affecting the entire skirt hem. So we have to add another point right here. And I'm going to hover the mouse on it, right click and select split. And I'm going to add 5 centimeter and then click on OK. It will make sense in a minute. Click on here, right click and then select split, add 5 centimeter. And the same right here, split, add 5 centimeter. So 5 centimeter from this side seam, okay? Next, we're gonna remove this point here, okay? So simply click and remove the bottom one. Just like that. The same right here, only the side seam. Now we're going to curve this once again. So instead of leave it pointy, we want to use that smooth curve tool, guys. It's super useful. Simply click, drag it out until it reaches the side seam. Just like that. And you only have to do it one side because the pattern are linked together. And this one, we're gonna repeat the step, click and then drag it out until it reaches the side seam to create the perfect curve. And right here. All right, so now we have this perfect curve for the skirt hem. And let's simulate one more time. And once again, we have to update the sewing because we removed some part of the pattern. And simply click, drag it out, just like that. And one more side here. There you go. Now let's simulate again. Okay, now they're perfect. Okay, so after we change the hem and split it into a 6-gore skirt, now we are going to create the skirt hem and sew it. To do so, first of all, let me remove some of the internal line that we don't need here. So this internal line, we don't need it. And it just makes the pattern look a little bit prettier. Okay? All right. Next, we are going to create the hem for the skirt. However, before we're going to do that, we want to turn this point here to curve points. Okay? I'm going to simply convert them to curve points. Okay, next, before we continue with creating the hem for the skirt, I'm going to save this file. Go to File here and then click on Save As and select Projects. And type in 6-gore skirt. And I'm going to save it to my project here, which is 6-gore skirt, and then click on Save. Alright, so now we are going to simply create the hem. I will once again use the Edit Pattern tool. Click on that hem right there. Press on Shift right here, right click, and we want to select Offset Pattern Outline. This time we want to change the distance to 1.2. And then we want to check this Create Internal Line box here. And Perpendicular, we want to change that to Mirror. And Default Corner is perfect. I'm going to click on OK. I will do the same here. Click, press on Shift, and then right click, select Offset Pattern Outline. And by default, I have distance to 1.2, which is perfect. And Create Internal Line, Mirror, Default Corner, click on OK to confirm. Okay, now we're going to create internal line here so we can sew this pattern too. Simply click on here, press on Shift here, right click, and we want to select Offset as internal line. And this time we want to change this value here to 2.4. And be sure this extend box is checked and then click on OK. We'll repeat the step here, click on this here, press on Shift and right click, Offset as internal line. And by default, I have 2.4, extend box is checked, click on OK. All right. Next, we want to fold this and sew together to create the hem. To do so, I will come over here and use this fold arrangement tool. Simply click on it to select. And we want to click one right here on the center line, drag it in here, and then come to the property editor. We want to change this fold angle here to 0, and then turn on fold rendering. We'll do the same here. Click, drag it in, turn this to 0, turn on this fold rendering. The same here. Click on the center line. And now we're going to do the back skirt. So I'm going to simply modify this fold a little. Perfect, come back here and then change that to 0. Okay, so now let's simulate. Next, we are going to sew that hem together. Simply use the segment sewing tool. click and sew it together. Same right here. We want to sew the top and the bottom. Next, let's update the sewing. Okay, and let's simulate this again to see how the effects and looking pretty good. Now we want to also update this top sewing too. So I'm going to unstrengthen here, and let's simulate to see the effects onto the fabric itself. So I'm going to definitely change the fabric property as well as the fabric texture. To do so, first of all, I'm going to come over here to this fabric folder, double click on it, and I'm going to type in knit, and I will use this knit fleece terry, click and then drag and drop onto the objects browser. After that, I'm going to my key, select all the pattern pieces, and then simply click on this assign fabric to apply the fabric. Next, I'm going to simulate to see the fabric effects. It actually looks much better. Next, I'm going to apply the fabric texture. To apply the fabric texture, I will come over here and then click on that fabric right there. Scroll down here until I see texture. And come back over here. We want to clear the search box right here in this library tab. And then I'm going to simply click on this fabric texture. And as you can see right here, guys, I have this free 5 high quality fabric texture for your skirt. You can simply click whichever one you want. I'm going to simply try out the yellow one first. Simply click, drag and drop onto the texture right there on the property editor. And now I'm going to simulate. So we have an issue here. The texture is a little bit too big. This is because I have this high quality texture. When you bring it to close, the texture change. But it's okay, we can fix that. Simply come over here to this edit texture tool, click one on that fabric there, and come to this gizmo icon, click and then drag it downward to scale the pattern down. So you can scale it down how you like, it's up to you. I think this is what I like it to be. And I'm going to simply simulate one more time, and that looks pretty good for me. So next I'm going to change these to a different texture. To do so, let's simply come back over here to that fabric texture. Once again, click on it to select, and I'm going to simply click the blue one. Click, drag and drop onto the texture once again, and while my edit texture tool is active, click on that and then simply click on the gizmo, drag it down to scale the pattern down. All right. Okay, if we look at closely here, now the zipper is shown, which we don't want that. We want the zipper to hide because this is the invisible zipper. To do so, we're going to change the particle distance as well as change the fabric texture to thick texture, okay? So first of all, let's change it to thick texture here. So now the fabric already high. Not only that, if we change the particle distance here to 10, so now the skirt looks much smoother. I'm going to stop the simulation here. Then we also want to come over here and then turn on this high quality rendering to see the defined silhouette onto the garment, okay? And next, let's hide the avatar here. And I also want to change the tool here. So I want to change the facing of the skirt to a different fabric. In this case, I will use silk fabric, okay? First of all, I already have silk fabric here earlier that I have it with the pattern itself. So I'm going to simply my key select that facing right there and then come over here to that fabric, silk fabric, and then click on the assign button right there to apply the silk fabric onto the facing. However, though, we want to change the color to match the skirt. I will click on that fabric right there, come down here, and click on that fabric swatch right there. And we want to use this eyedropper tool. Click on it to select, then click on the skirt itself to pick up the color. And then I will press on escape to get out the eyedropper tool and then click on apply and close. And there you go. We have the perfect 6 gore skirt guide that we just changed it from an A-line skirt. So it looks like we have some issue here. Somehow the sewing here got messed up. We have to fix that. We're going to use this edit sewing tool and then change that sewing here. Alright, so now let's simulate once again see if that fixed. There you go. And change the tool here to either transform tool or other tool beside the sewing so you get to see the skirt better. I also want to hide this internal line as well. And let's turn the avatar back on here and press on number 2 to see the front view. There you have it, Designistas. I hope you find this video helpful and be sure to give it a thumbs up. This allows others to find the video more easily on YouTube. Thank you so much for your support, guys, and happy designing!